It seems like AI is, well, everywhere you turn these days.
Yeah.
Every day there's a new headline, Good, bad, the whole robots taking over the world thing.
Yeah. It's a lot to keep up with.
It really is. And who has the time to become like an AI expert just to know if their job is safe, right?
Right.
So that's what this deep dive is all about. Cutting through all the hype and figuring out what AI is really doing to the job market.
And I think a good place to start with that is the AI and the Future of Work conference that happened at Georgetown.
Okay. Yeah.
This wasn't like, your typical tech conference.
Yeah.
This had some of the leading AI researchers in the country, and they're really trying to get at the truth of the matter here.
That's what we need, some truth.
Mhm.
And you're saying this deep dive is looking at 3 presentations from that conference.
3 presentations, yeah, and they're packed with insights. I mean, they were looking at AI's impact in ways that I never would have even thought of, like using patents to track it.
Patents, huh? I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Yeah, so the first presentation we'll be unpacking. It basically found that you can actually follow the development of AI by who's filing patents for it.
Yeah.
Like, it's a trail leading right to the companies that are really pushing the limits of what AI can even do.
That's a really clever approach.
It is.
Because patents are public, right?
Yeah, they're a public record.
So it gives you like real data to measure something that feels honestly kind of impossible to measure.
Exactly. Exactly.
So they looked at these companies that are filing all these AI patents. What did they find? Are they like taking over the world?
Well, world domination aside, they actually found that those companies were seeing huge boosts in productivity.
Okay, so they're innovating and becoming super efficient. That makes sense. But what kind of productivity are we talking about here?
So it's not just in one area. We're talking labor productivity, like how much each worker is producing.
Right, right.
But then also total factor productivity, which
Yeah.
is, it takes into account all the stuff that goes into production, like technology, capital, everything.
So it's not just AI replacing workers. It's AI making everyone better, making the whole system better. Okay, I'm with you. But I have to ask, increased productivity, that's great for companies and all, but what about the workers?
Right. That's the key question, right?
Yeah.
And this study, they actually looked at that too. They looked specifically at income inequality within these companies that are really big into AI. And here's the surprising part. They didn't find a statistically significant negative impact.
Really? I have to admit, that's a little surprising.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is just one piece of the puzzle, right?
Totally.
Mhm.
This is a very specific group of companies we're looking at here. Like, they're on the cutting edge.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't necessarily mean this is what's happening across the, the entire economy,
Yeah.
especially in sectors that maybe aren't using AI as much yet.
Right, for sure. So it's a fascinating look at how AI might be impacting things, but definitely not the whole story.
Exactly. It's just one piece of a much bigger puzzle.
So it's like we're getting a glimpse into this future where AI is a major player, but we're still figuring out the rules of the game.
And the impact it's having on how we work.
Right. So how is AI changing things for those of us who aren't, building AI from the ground up?
Well, that's what's so cool about this next presentation. It gets into the nitty-gritty of how AI is actually changing the day-to-day of people's jobs.
Okay, I like where this is going. Give me the details.
So they use this term linchpin workers, which I think is super interesting.
Linchpin workers.
Yeah, so this researcher from Harvard Business School, they were studying AI's impact on software developers. And they realized that some of these really skilled people, they're like essential to a project's success, right?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
everyone else depends on them. So they called them linchpins because they're holding everything together.
Okay, yeah, I get it. I've been that person. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Rewarding, but a lot.
Exactly. And it can be really draining. And they were finding that these linchpin developers, they were spending so much time on tasks that weren't really like core to their expertise.
Like what? Give me an example.
Project management, administrative stuff, even just dealing with clunky software. So their researcher wanted to know, like, what happens if you give these linchpins an AI assistant?
I like it. Let's get these guys an AI assistant. And not just any assistant, right? We're talking about GitHub Copilot here. The AI that can actually code.
Exactly. It's like having an AI pair programmer right there with you, helping write code, catch those little errors, even suggesting better ways to solve problems.
Okay, so now instead of spending hours on debugging or searching for the right piece of code,
They can focus on the more complex stuff, the creative problem solving that they're really good at.
that's what it's all about, right? That's where the magic happens. And that's what this study found.
Yeah, that's exactly what they found. With Copilot, these highly skilled developers were spending way more time on those core coding tasks and less time on, like, the tedious stuff.
Music to my ears. But what about the less experienced coders? What happened to them?
That's a really important question, and I think it's something we often forget to consider when we're talking about AI. This study actually found that Copilot was really helpful for less experienced programmers. Like, it actually seemed to help them learn faster.
Wow, so it's like having a personalized coding tutor on call 24/7. That could be huge. Like, what if AI could change the way we think about education and training?
Now you're thinking, what if everyone had access to that kind of personalized support? It could be a game changer, especially for fields that are really hard to break into.
Absolutely. So, AI taking on these tasks, helping people learn faster. I mean, what does this mean for the way teams actually work together?
Yeah, that's another really interesting thing this study looked at. It found that as AI takes on these more, I don't know, management-style tasks, it could actually change team dynamics.
You mean like fewer layers of management, more
Uh,
fluid team structure?
Exactly. Could AI lead to flatter hierarchies, more autonomous teams? These are questions researchers are really starting to explore.
So, if AI is taking over some of these more traditional management tasks, I have to ask, what does that mean for managers? Is the boss role going to become obsolete?
Ugh, the million-dollar question. It's possible, right?
Really?
Some management roles as we know them today, they might change drastically or even, yeah, maybe become obsolete. But I think it also opens up opportunities for new kinds of leadership roles.
Interesting. Like what?
Roles focused on strategy, on mentorship, on fostering creativity. The things that, right now at least, only humans can really do.
I love that. So, it's not about AI taking over, it's about AI pushing us to adapt and evolve.
And rethinking what's possible.
Okay, so we're seeing how AI is changing everything from individual productivity to team dynamics, even the very definition of leadership. But how big are we talking here? Is this really a technological revolution? Is AI leading to a technological revolution?
Well, that's what this last presentation really digs into. They asked a really interesting question. Are we really talking about GPTs, just meaning like these large language models, you know?
Like Chat GPT, those GPT.
Yeah, those GPTs. Or are they actually GPTs in a much like bigger sense?
You mean like general purpose technologies?
Exactly. The kind that totally revolutionize how we live and work. Like, think electricity, think the internet. We're talking big, fundamental changes.
Right, game changers. So is this researcher saying Chat GPT is on that level?
Well, they wanted to find out. And to do that, they got really practical. They looked at real job descriptions.
Oh, wow. So
No.
they actually went and found real jobs.
Yeah, from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, no less.
Okay, so we're not talking about some made up future of work here.
No, this is about the work people are doing right now, today.
I like it. So how do you even measure that, the impact of AI on all these different jobs?
Right, so they had both AI and human experts analyze thousands of these job descriptions.
Wait, so they got an AI to help them figure out if AI was going to be helpful?
I know, it's kind of meta when you
Yeah.
think about it, right? But basically, they wanted to see how relevant large language models were to all those tasks involved in different jobs.
Okay, so what did they find? Can AI actually help us do our jobs better?
The results were pretty amazing, honestly. Even without any fancy customization, tons of those jobs. They could see a potential for huge productivity boosts just by using LLMs that already exist.
So you're telling me I could just fire up ChatGPT and be more productive today?
Well, I mean, maybe not that easily,
Okay.
but the potential is there. It really highlights how powerful these AI models already are, even without someone spending a ton of time tailoring them for a specific use.
It's kind of scary how fast this is all happening.
Yeah, I mean, it really does make you think.
Especially when you start talking about how this impacts different people. Like, if AI has the potential to make everyone more productive, we need to make sure everyone benefits.
100%. And that's a big part of what this researcher is emphasizing. They found that higher paying jobs, they were actually more likely to see these AI-driven productivity gains.
Which makes sense if you think about it.
Yeah,
But on the other hand, it's like, are we just going to make the gap between the haves and have-nots even bigger?
it's a valid concern. And it's why it's so important to be thinking about things like upskilling programs and safety nets to make sure that everyone can adapt and thrive in this, rapidly changing world.
So, okay, we've gone from AI patents to productivity to the very nature of work itself. My brain is full. Give it to me straight. What's the takeaway here?
The AI revolution, it's not some far-off thing anymore. It's happening now. And these studies we've been talking about, they show that it's not just about robots taking over jobs. It's way more nuanced than that.
Nuance is good.
It's about AI changing how we work. It's about who benefits and what skills we're all going to need to stay ahead of the curve.
So less about fearing the robots, more about adapting and learning new things.
Exactly. The future is, well, it's unwritten. It's about staying curious, being willing to adapt and learn new things, and yeah, maybe even working with AI, not against it.
I like the sound of that. Now I have to ask you, if you could hand off one task, just one, from your workflow to an AI assistant, what would it be?
Oh, that is a dangerous question. There are so many things. But you know what? I think I'd hand off all the scheduling and the back and forth emailing.
Oh, the email abyss. I feel you.
You get it? Then I could spend more time on the stuff I actually love,
Oh,
diving into research, connecting ideas, and of course, having these fascinating conversations with you.
I'm all for more deep dives. And for those of you listening, we want to hear from you. What task would you hand off to an AI? And over to our website, we've got links to all the research we talked about today. And let's keep this conversation going. Share your thoughts on social media. Use hashtag #TheDeepDive. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep on diving deep.